Hello and welcome to Shoot the Hostage. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Dan.
We're a movie show that delves into a different film each week based around a theme. This season, the theme is cops. Like all good podcasts, this show contains explicit language and mature content, as well as major spoilers for the movie that we're covering.
We watched The Guard.
We did watch The Guard.
In 2011. No, it was made in 2011.
Guys, we went back in time.
We watched it yesterday. Or the day before yesterday.
We watched it a day.
Yes.
This year, in 2023.
Yeah.
We're so professional.
Nice and short one. 92 minutes. I appreciate a short movie, especially
Me
when
too.
you've got to watch it for a podcast.
I do like a quick run time.
It was directed by John Michael McDonough.
Yep, not the other one, whose name I have already forgotten. Martin McDonough.
Yeah. And the budget was $6 million and it grossed $21 million worldwide. Apparently the
21?
most...
Oh,
yeah,
man.
$21 whole million. So about
I'd say at least
£4.50.
at least 15 quid of that was me.
Was it? Did you see this at the cinema? Did you... Did you see this at the cinema?
I didn't. I don't believe it had a cinema outing anywhere near me. I would have loved the opportunity to, but I think I found out about this after doing some research, because obviously In Bruges was amazing.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to dispute that. Although, I don't know, maybe some people might dispute it, but this might not be the podcast for you in that case.
Good movie. That's another Brendan Gleeson joint.
It is, and it's Martin McDonough, I want to say. So this, I think I found via that.
Right.
And I've probably seen a trailer somewhere. So I was quite keen to see it. I loved Brendan Gleeson in Bruges.
Yeah.
And I would cite Brendan Gleeson as one of my favourite actors of all time. I think he's genuinely excellent. But I don't really remember him being on my radar at all prior to The Guard and In Bruges.
I first came across Brendan Gleeson.
Careful.
I knew he was going to...
Did you apologise after?
Yeah, I came across him. I can't say it now. I first noticed Brendan Gleeson 28 Days Later was the first thing I saw him in.
Which is wild because I was a big fan of that film. So I'd definitely seen him in stuff.
He must have made an impression on me because I think I knew who he was from that point forward.
Okay.
However, I did think that the Martins, I did think that the McDonald's were one and the same person for a while.
Did you?
I think so, because
Yeah.
I just saw the name McDonough slapped on In Bruges, and then it was The Guard. I was like, oh, it's the same bloke.
I mean, at that point in their careers, their films were quite tonally similar. Like, The Guard
They
has
still are.
I disagree with that.
Do you?
Yeah. I would say The Guard is probably... I've immediately forgotten his name. Is it John Michael?
Which
Michael?
one?
The one who directed The Guard. This film
one
that we're talking about.
John
yes.
Michael McDonough.
John Michael and Martin. Right. I'm going to cement that in my memory now. So John Michael. I think The Guard is probably like the most... I mean, it's undoubtedly dark in places, but it's the most comedic of his films, I would say.
It is a comedy, isn't it?
The Guard?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Dark comedy.
Yeah. I think...
comedy for sure. But so they started out with very similar careers, and I think they've diverged.
Yeah.
Because Calvary was much darker.
Was it?
The Forgiven, which we actually managed to catch at the cinema recently, was again much darker. There was some
Had
some
moments,
laughs.
But yeah, it was much darker, that one.
And Martin got it that time. Martin kind of went in the other direction. Like Seven Psychopaths. And,
oh, right.
You know, a little bit more comedic, bit more whimsical, perhaps.
Haven't seen Seven Psychopaths.
Have you not?
No.
Ooh.
What else has he done? Oh, did he do Banshees of Inisherin?
Yeah.
McDonough?
Yes. Okay, so he's... Yeah. Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong.
That's quite funny.
but also very dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
So perhaps I've just shot myself in the foot with that argument. So he did diverge, but he's come right back around. There we go. Saved it. Gone back to his roots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he do 3 billboards outside Ebbing?
I'm not sure.
Have I just pulled that
Maybe.
out my arse?
I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right. Have faith.
I should have just said it confidently and nobody would have questioned it.
Have we done a synopsis yet?
We haven't done a synopsis. Would you like to do a synopsis?
Yeah, we should do one.
Go on then.
Right, I'm going to find one on Letterboxd.
Okay. We're not going to go with the Blu-ray like last time.
No.
The Blu-ray served as well.
So, the FBI are about to discover that things work a little differently around here. When a small-town Irish cop with a crass personality has partnered with a straight-laced FBI agent to bust an international drug trafficking ring, they must settle their differences in order to take down a dangerous gang.
That sounded like it was difficult to say. He did do 3 billboards.
It's just
though.
the way I read it.
You just gave me enough time to look that up and
Okay.
verify. God damn it, I do need to start being a bit more confident.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, the film wastes no time getting right into the action.
Yeah, the first scene is...
Well, the first thing we really see is Sergeant Jerry Boyle,
That is the first scene.
our
Yeah.
cranky but affable protagonist.
Yeah.
Following, well, he's doing traffic stops, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the old speed gun out, right?
Yeah. Sees a bunch of wasters speeding, follows them, finds the car crashed, and nicks their drugs.
Yeah.
Which is like the best sort of show don't tell opening to a film.
Yeah, it does introduce you to that character quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of tells you everything you need to know. He's on the right side of the law when he wants to be.
Yeah.
But he's also not averse to unorthodox policing practices.
He also is a policeman in Galway, so I assume that acid only helps the day move a bit faster
Yeah, I mean,
or slower.
it's funny because they make mention of that, of how sleepy a town it is at several points. And I mean, that much is obvious. But then we see a couple deaths straight out the gate. So, somewhat contrary.
Yeah, I think I heard that McDonough, this one,
Yeah.
John Michael, he had made a short film with the character of Jerry Boyle.
Okay.
I know I haven't watched it, so I could be talking shit here. But this
Again,
is what I
say it
heard.
confidently.
This is what I heard. He'd done that short story, but then he'd heard another story in the news about a drug seizure just off the coast of Cork. And
Okay.
that's when he thought, oh, I'll kind of merge those two things. And then he developed the screenplay for The Guard.
And then he struck solid gold,
Yes. Yeah.
giving my opinion away. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool, actually. I hadn't realised there was any sort of truth to the story that they were telling in this film.
Well, there's not. It's just
Okay.
there was a news story. I find that inspiring.
Right.
I'm going to write about this.
I'm going to change it liberally.
Yeah, I expect so. I don't know
Okay.
anything about drugs in Cork. The drug story in Cork. Yeah. So,
It's fine. They'll never tie it back to you.
so you mentioned about getting a few deaths straight out the gate.
I did.
Who else gets it?
Well, we don't really know, do we? He's a John Doe. So, Jerry Boyle, I get the impression he's been on the job quite a long time. He seems sick of everybody's shit,
I
put it that
think
way.
so. Yeah, you don't get to know an awful lot about his past. You get a couple of nuggets.
You get some bits, some sort of insight into his personal life.
You know that he's got a mother.
A dying mother, yeah.
Who's...
Who is only 13 years older than he is.
Oh, really?
The actress.
In
yeah.
real life? Okay.
I did think that at the time, that was interesting casting. He looks, I don't know, maybe they picked Brendan Gleeson because they wanted him to play slightly younger, but wear his years on his face.
Okay. Yeah, no, that would make sense, actually. Yeah, he has a dying mother who's in a care home. She has about 8 weeks to live.
Yeah.
And there is a conversation where he mentions about having competed for the Olympics in 1988.
Yeah.
So somewhere between 1988 and 2011, assuming this is set in 2011,
I think it is. I assume it is.
that's your kind of period where he gets fourth in the Olympics, maybe comes home and then, what am I going to do? I can't
Be
make
a
a
cop.
career. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be Old Bill and steal people's acid.
Yeah, natural progression,
Yeah.
as I understand it.
Yeah.
So what happens when you come fourth in the Olympics? As he said, you don't get a medal for fourth,
No, certainly not.
but you do get a gun and a badge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he meets his new partner?
McBride.
Is it his new partner?
Yes.
They are partnered. Okay. Aidan McBride, yes. Just moved to Galway.
From Dublin, the big city,
Yep.
which is a 2-hour drive to
Is
Galway.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
It's funny. I wanted to look it up because they kept referring to Dublin like it's this mad
Mythical,
place that's
yeah.
really far away. And I looked it up on Google Maps, and 2 hours you can drive it. You could commute that.
You could do it in an hour and a half.
I don't know about that. Jerry Boyle would be hot on my tail.
Stealing your acid. Yeah, so...
I don't have any acid.
You didn't need that disclaimer.
I felt like I needed it. This is going on.
What, you need acid?
No, stop it. Stop trying to incriminate me.
You're pretty good at that yourself. I'll leave it. His partner, Aidan McBride, fresh-faced, new to the town.
Yep.
And as we soon see, quite by the book.
Quite naive.
Yeah, in stark contrast to Jerry.
Inexperienced.
Yeah.
Or seems inexperienced.
It
I wonder
kind
what
of
he was
seems
up to
like
in Dublin.
Yeah, well, this is why I was asking, because it's sort of, you get the impression it's kind of like a first day on the job thing, kind of thing almost. Yeah. But I guess he must have done some policing back in the big city.
Maybe he contaminated a crime scene or something. His punishment is to go and work for Brendan Gleeson.
Well, Brendan Gleeson does plenty of contamination on this crime scene.
He contaminates a corpse with his hands.
He does. He cops a feel.
Mm.
Cops a feel?
He cops a feel, yeah.
I tried. Yeah,
like
I mean...
baller.
Just more evidence of his unorthodox police work. But yeah, so they stumble upon this... they're called out to a crime scene, and there's been a murder.
McCormick? Is that McCormick?
No, McCormick's one of the drug smugglers, isn't he?
Is it?
I believe so. Because they think the dead body is somebody called Billy Devaney. Because he says it looks like.
Yeah.
And that's when Aidan starts writing it down, and he's like, no, I didn't say it was. I said it looks like him.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's when they deduce that it's an unknown. They've never seen this guy before. And in a small town like that seems unusual. So that, coupled with the pot plant, the page of a book that I think is in his mouth.
Bible.
It's Bible.
The book.
The book, the only book. And that somebody's daubed 5.5 on the wall in blood. So their immediate assumption is that there's some occult overtones.
Yeah, like that probiotic drink.
Yes. Activia? What? They'd be wrong, but that's exactly what the murderers wanted them to think.
They're kind of throwing him off the scent. And
Smart.
Yeah. And one of the villains does a prank call to the police station. Jerry takes the call. Well, it's not a prank call. He's trying to throw them off the scent. Right? Yeah. He's saying that he saw a fight and he's trying to fit someone up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they bring in this suspect.
The Italian.
To talk to.
He's not Italian.
He's not Italian, yeah.
There's a lot of casual xenophobia in this film.
There's a lot of casual xenophobia.
And racism. But they do make mention of it, at the very least.
Yes. I felt a little bit uncomfortable watching this.
With regard to the racism?
Yes.
Okay. Not the bull cupping of the corpse.
No, that's fine. They're dead.
We'll allow that.
It doesn't... Well, it's also illegal, isn't it?
I would like to point out that Shoot the Hostage does not endorse corpse interference.
Corpse cupping.
Yeah. In any way, shape or form.
But yeah, no, I did feel a little bit uncomfortable just because I wasn't sure what the point of it was. I've reconciled that now in my brain.
So do you believe there was a point to it? And if so, what?
I think it's the point is that Jerry is kind of testing people, I think.
Oh, he likes to push people's buttons.
Yeah.
And I mean, to skip ahead quite a bit, there's that scene in the car with Jerry Boyle and Wendell. And it's a perfect moment to me when Wendell sort of says, I don't know if you're really motherfucking dumb or really motherfucking smart.
Yeah.
And the smile, that subtle look that Brendan Gleeson gives him.
Yeah.
That gleeful kind of, that's what I want.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of and I have seen this before, but I've not thought about it in any great detail until this time watching it. But I think that's kind of where I switched and was like, oh, I see what's happening. Like, okay, fine. Like, some of the stuff that this guy says, you can't say.
No,
you
not
shouldn't
okay.
say. However...
But there is also that line where he sort of says, he gets kind of scolded for saying racist shit in the meeting.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I'm Irish. Racism's a part of my culture.
I'm Irish. Racism's part of my culture.
Don't do that again. Please, I'm begging you.
Yeah.
No, so they do at least acknowledge it, and it's part of the case, kind of baked into the character. And like you said, he does want to push people. He wants to test people, see how far he can push them, maybe see how far he can go. And also, he doesn't give a fuck.
I think he's trying to unsettle people because that's when they really reveal more about themselves, I think. Like, if you really come out and, I wouldn't say offend, but if you say something deeply inappropriate, people are taken aback and you kind of see who they really are in that moment.
That's a good point.
And I think maybe that's part of it. And I don't think, you can't go around saying that sort of stuff in real life. But for this character, I found it worked quite well.
Okay, that makes sense. So they interrogate the guy who was in the bar.
Yeah.
That their drug smugglers are trying to fit up, as you so eloquently put it.
Yeah.
But it's not him. But we did get quite a fun interaction there, and McBride and Boyle are trying to do a very shitty version of good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
And seem quite confused.
Yeah, that's a good scene. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
And then shortly after that, McBride is killed.
Yeah.
That's the first time we really see much of the bad guys.
Yeah.
I enjoy the villains in this quite a lot.
Yeah, they're great.
I don't like Mark Strong as a human. He annoys the tits off me.
Not a fan of Green Lantern?
No.
Or Sinestro?
No. I don't know what it is about him. I just find him a bit annoying. But the three of them together, is it Mark Strong, Liam Cunningham, and I want to say David Wilmot?
Yep, sure.
I don't know what it is about them. They shouldn't work together. They're such disparate people, but I really enjoy their dynamic.
Yeah. No, I thought their dynamic was really funny. And they weren't just, I don't know, they had something to them. They were very silly.
Well, yeah, the first time we really see them all having a conversation, they're talking about famous authors and poetry and...
They mention Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
And Dylan Thomas.
They mentioned Dylan Thomas, yeah.
Yep. They definitely mentioned Bertrand Russell.
Nietzsche. Yeah. Because they sort of, one of them calls the other one out for being a bit of a poser, saying Nietzsche's too obvious.
Yeah.
And I kind of love that.
Yeah.
That tells you a lot. Again, it tells you a lot about them in very little dialogue.
Yeah.
It's kind of genius.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're pulled over by McBride.
Oh, that's right. I was trying to... Yes. Of course.
Don't worry, I'm here to fill you in.
He was just unlucky in putting them over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that scene is so well played because it's kind of heartbreaking. Like, we've only met... I mean, we've seen him in, like, what, 2 scenes?
Yeah.
That character does not get very much screen time, but he is quite memorable because he seems so... I was going to say straight as an arrow, which we later learn is not true with his green card wife. But you know what I mean? Like, very by the book, by the numbers. But there's an innocence to him that is very likeable.
Yeah.
And so when you realise what's happening in that moment, it's a bit heart-wrenching, or I found it to be. And when he says, I'm not going to turn around, I'm going to show you what for the cowards you are, and they just shoot him in the back anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me sad.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that character has so little screen time, but makes enough of an impact to make you give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Again, very well done.
Yeah.
And it just kind of emphasises how callous the villains are and how they'll go as far as shooting a cop in the back just to get away, which is, like, again, pretty good storytelling.
Well, why didn't they just try and pay him off? Because they paid everyone else off.
I guess they've reasoned that they couldn't. If they'd been pulled over at all,
I guess so.
Then I guess they realised, oh, he's an outsider.
Yeah, maybe.
We're going to have no luck here.
Yeah.
Fuck it. But yeah, after that, we do see Don Cheadle for the first time.
Yeah.
Wendell Everett from the FBI.
What's his first scene? Is it the briefing?
It's at the briefing, yeah.
That's the first time we see Don Cheadle.
I believe so. I believe so.
So he's given everyone the rundown on what's going on. We've got some international drugsmen.
Drugsmen, is that the colloquial term?
I believe so.
Okay.
And we have a street value of $500 million of cocaine coming through.
I love his argument of, well, you guys are always saying street value. I want to know what street you're buying your cocaine on.
You're always talking about street value.
I love that.
Makes me wonder what street you're buying your cocaine on, because it's not the street I buy my cocaine on. But there's a nice little moment from Wendell, from Don Cheadle's character in that moment, because Jerry is making all sorts of comments about drug dealers and the race of drug dealers, which I won't repeat.
No,
verbatim.
please don't.
And everyone's getting a bit annoyed and frustrated with him. But then there's just a really nice moment from Don Cheadle where he laughs as if to say, this guy, who is this guy? He's ridiculous. But I think in that moment, he kind of twigged this, don't take this guy seriously. I don't know what's wrong with him yet, but he's harmless.
Do you think?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's sort of exemplified by the line in the car later on. Like you see moments of what might be intelligence or even genius, but then the rest of his persona is just bumpkin.
Yeah.
So it is confusing to him. But yeah, I think he does sort of write him off as maybe, somebody gave the village idiot a uniform.
Probably initially, yeah.
Yeah, in that scene.
Yeah.
And then we obviously learn a little bit more about Sergeant Jerry Boyle. His character is fleshed out a bit more. He goes to visit his mum.
Mm.
We learn very quickly she's not got long to live. The quiet moments where he spends time with his mother, I think, is really well done. Because he does seem... There are times where you'd be quick to assume that he's just like a bit dead inside. But that's obviously not the case.
No, I don't think so. He's
just maybe had a shitty hand dealt to him and he's kind of just trying to make the best of it, I guess.
I think he just wants to have... Like, he just wants to amuse himself, I think. But yeah, there are some quiet moments.
But is that out of boredom? Like he's too smart for the life he's found himself in?
It's hard to say because we meet this character when he's got a crime to solve. It's not like we got to spend... Oh, well, I guess the opening scene when he pulls over the youths and steals their drugs. I guess you're kind of meant to think that's just everyday police work for him.
Yeah,
maybe?
I guess so. Like he doesn't take anything too seriously because that's the most serious crime that ever really happens until this.
So maybe there is a bit of a Groundhog Day scenario for him.
Yeah.
He does like to play the computer games in the pub, the shooting games, and the score is very, very Western. And I think that's kind of the first thought that I had when it started was, is this a Western? And it kind of is.
He even meets the IRA guy who's got a cowboy hat on at one point.
Oh, yeah. I've forgotten about that. But yeah, so...
in fact, the Derringer... Are Derringers not kind of... Never mind. I'm getting too far ahead of myself.
Little gun.
Tiny gun.
Yeah.
To secrete on one's person.
Yeah.
But the only other scene that we really get that fleshes out his character a little bit is when he goes to visit the sex workers.
Mm.
When he has the tryst with the two ladies in the hotel. They know he's a cop. He's very brazen about his entire lifestyle, which I respect.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that about the character. He doesn't feel the need to hide anything, even when he should, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get to see a little bit there. And obviously, I don't know, like, I think the general feeling is in films like this, when there's an older man who's on his own, you sort of, generally, they're written to be pitied almost.
Do you think
Why has he not got a wife? What's wrong with him?
Well, yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
But he seems quite content with his lifestyle.
Well...
I mean, going through the motions for the most part, but, like, not unhappy.
I think it's difficult. I think you could read it as he's kind of a bit unsatisfied. He talks about having come fourth in the Olympics. There also is a line with his mum where she says, I feel like I've missed out. Mm. And he says, yeah, haven't we all? So I feel like he feels like he's not fulfilling his potential.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's obviously a lot smarter than he appears to be at first glance.
Yeah. So I would say that he's probably not very content.
Okay.
And this is all interpretation. So, it's just what I'm taking from it. And going back to the pub where he's playing the shooting games.
Which, quick side note, the voice on the machine is the director.
Yeah, that's right. So I feel like he kind of maybe wants to escape his reality. That's the feeling I got from it. And that kind of makes sense in the narrative of the story and where we end up as well, which we won't get to yet. But I've been thinking about it and the ending and what it means and what that means for the rest of the film.
Ooh, I'm interested to hear your thoughts now.
I don't get too excited. It's not like this major insight bombshell. It could be this thing or that thing, and I think it's that thing.
Okay, well,
but then it could still be the other thing. It depends how you look at it.
I'm assuming sex work is illegal in Ireland.
I don't know the laws in Ireland, but I would assume they're similar to ours.
Yeah,
so yes,
broadly. So again, it's another kind of indication that he doesn't really give a fuck about, like, he'll enforce the law when he has to, but it's almost begrudging. Yeah,
and I feel like maybe he has his own moral compass.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And,
which is very broken.
He decides what is a bad thing and what is an okay thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, who knows?
Which I guess sort of ties back into End of Watch and Jake Gyllenhaal's speech at the beginning about, I may not always agree with the law, but I will uphold it.
Yeah.
Maybe he watched, which came first?
This one.
Oh no, so he can't have seen that first.
Yeah, by a year.
So at what moment do you think Don Cheadle begins to have like a little bit of respect for him? Because I think his respect does grow for Jerry Boyle throughout.
I think it begins straight away.
When he identifies, because obviously in the briefing they're being shown the photos, and I love the offhand way he's just like, well, you're not going to find him. It's just like, oh, yeah, go on. Why? He's like, well, he's dead. He's in the morgue. Yeah. I hope he's dead. Do you think it's at that point?
I think so, yeah, because what I mentioned earlier was he does this little wry smile as if to say, oh, I kind of understand who you are. You're an idiot, but you're not stupid. And then obviously when he comes out with that nugget of information about the case, I feel like he probably begins his journey of respect then.
I think the meagre amount of respect that was building was sort of punctuated by them meeting. I guess it wasn't planned, but when they meet for breakfast and Boyle's been swimming and he tells him the story about the Olympics and stuff, and then says, well, I'm not coming with you to do the question. It's my day off. Yeah. I've had it booked for ages. Why weren't you told about this? And Don Cheadle's just sort of floored that anybody's day off could come before, trying to get to the bottom of this enormous crime.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the respect that was building is sort of punctuated there.
Okay.
And then we get the scene following that where Wendell has to try and interview the locals, which goes very poorly.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. He interviews a horse and he just kind of gets ignored. They pretend that they can't speak English and stuff.
They do, yeah.
They just don't want to get involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just viewed as an outsider and unwelcome as a result.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad because he's probably the nicest person in the film.
Yeah, probably.
Besides the horse.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after that, it's actually Jerry who sees McBride's car, isn't it? He's the one who spots it on the way back from his tryst with the ladies.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he realises something's up and he obviously goes to meet McBride's, well, what we later learn to be widow.
Yeah.
Yeah, his green card wife, who's lovely, doesn't get a lot of screen time. She seems nice.
She's wearing all red.
Is she?
Does that mean
the
anything?
First time we see her?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I do want to talk a bit about the colours in this film.
Okay. What's that called? There's a name, is it called colour?
Colour theory?
Theory.
Yeah. I'm not very well versed.
Latin name.
I'm not very well versed in colour theory, but it's curious to me. Like, I've seen this film a bunch of times, and for whatever reason, in my head, I remembered it being really quite drab.
Yeah.
Bit of a beige movie.
Okay.
But I was quite shocked to see how intensely colourful it is a lot of the time.
Jerry's apartment is green.
There's a lot of green, actually.
There's a lot of green.
There's a lot of green in the office as well.
There's some yellow at the very end.
Yep.
But also there's some red splashed in there. There's McBride's wife is dressed all in red the first time we meet her.
Mm-hmm.
The first car that speeds past Jerry is red. And there's a lot of front doors and windows that are painted red. I'm not sure if that has any significance. It's just something I noticed because it felt a bit, I don't know, just striking, and it stood out to me. Some of it felt kind of Wes Anderson-y in a way.
Do you think?
I think I'm probably reaching, but it reminded me of Wes Anderson. Some of the colour styles and some of the framing. The
framing I could see, yeah. I was definitely struck by how much green was in this film.
What does green mean?
Generally, like a new beginning, growth, rebirth kind of thing, which in the context of the ending could make a lot more sense.
Yeah. It could just mean that they're in Ireland.
It could, yeah.
Maybe
that's it.
Maybe McDonald just likes green.
Maybe I'm overthinking it. It's funny you should say that, actually, because I used to know a filmmaker quite well, and at one point he was asked in a magazine interview, why was all this red in your film? What does this signify? And he was just like, I don't know, I just like red.
Yeah.
Just wanted it to be red.
Okay, fair enough.
So that, like, I love to speculate, but it doesn't always mean anything.
Yeah.
From my experience, anyway.
Just what they want to see.
Yeah, but I think that probably says more about me. I'm just desperate to find meaning in every frame.
I think mostly in good movies, everything means something, right? Or should do. I don't
know if I agree with that.
I mean, if you're building a set,
and
you've got your actors there, and you've got the set behind them, don't you want everything in that shot to be telling a story or something about the characters or the story in some way?
Yeah, if you're a good filmmaker, you do.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, maybe that's the difference. I don't know. Look, it's all speculation. It's all conjecture. But given how vibrant the film is and how certain colours cropped up time and time again, I'd be shocked if it didn't mean something.
Yeah, I think so.
Especially coming from a theatre background.
Yeah.
I would love to know what it actually means, but for now we can only guess.
We can speculate.
Yes.
Ultimately, it's whatever we think it is, because that's what happens to art. They put it out in the world and we think it's this.
We like that, we don't like that.
And the filmmakers go, it's not that, and we go, shut up. It's not yours anymore. That's how art works, isn't it?
Sure, yeah. That's the process that I'm familiar with.
That's how I do art anyway.
After this, Jerry meets Don Cheadle in the pub, who's already a few drinks deep at that point.
Because he's I guess fed up because he's had a wasted day essentially.
Nobody would talk to him.
Got any leads or anything, mm-hmm. So he's had a couple.
And that's largely Jerry's fault because he didn't go with him.
Yeah. He's had a couple of pints at the pub and Jerry comes along, I'll have a Guinness, I'll have a Scotch, I'll have this and that.
I can respect that. But he does, during that scene, that's when he realises, they've got CCTV here. We can check out the circumstances surrounding the call that came in.
Right.
And that's when they see, in the background, the two of the drug smugglers that they're looking for.
Yeah.
So become very confident that actually, yes, this is happening here. It's not been misinformation. We need to put feelers out.
Yeah. So basically, they would have gotten away with this crime if they hadn't decided to have a pint.
Well, it's the same as everything, isn't it? Hubris.
Yeah.
They got cocky. Hubris took them down.
Mm. I think one of my favourite scenes is in a diner.
Okay.
When... Because the villains are trying to pay off all of the police.
Yeah.
So they keep quiet and let them go about their business dealing cocaine.
But they haven't approached Jerry Boyle.
They haven't. Did they hear that he can't be bought? Did they hear that?
Which is interesting because given how much he kind of flouts the rules, he is still principled.
Yeah. So they arrange a meeting at the diner. Mm-hmm. Maeve from the boys is there.
Yep.
And they have the meeting. Basically, the villain says, look, shut up. We've got pictures of you with some sex workers.
Yep.
If you don't keep your mouth shut, then we're going to put these all over the notice board or something, whatever. I don't know what the threat is. They're threatening.
Some sort of internal memo.
Yeah. You would think that he would just be like, all right, well, I don't care. Everyone knows what I do. I do what you like. But they also say, here's some money as well.
Yeah.
And he's threatened, basically, to not investigate the crime any further. And he has a milkshake.
And gets a milkshake headache.
And I only mention that because it's probably the funniest scene, I would say. He gets the brain freeze and Maeve, I'm just going to call her Maeve. Maeve says, "What are you going to do?" And he says, "Oh, it'll go in a minute." It was quite funny, I thought.
I mean, this film is chock full of like very, very precise jokes.
Yeah. It's
so hilarious from beginning to end. And the writing is so tight. I don't know if it was always intended to be like a 90-minute runtime or if there was a lot of stuff that hit the deck. Yeah. I don't know.
There are a few deleted scenes. I don't think I saw any, but
so you don't know what they are?
No.
I would be interested.
I think that I did hear him talk on a podcast about cutting scenes down, so it might just be trimming them a little bit, making it a bit leaner.
Because the editing is fucking great.
Yeah.
It's so tight. And none of the dialogue is wasted. Nothing is like incidental. It's all, this is informative or this is a joke.
Yeah.
Everything. And that's really, really, really rare. But again, I wonder if that's like a strength that he's brought with him from his theatre background.
I imagine so, yeah.
I mean, especially since I think they're both like award-winning playwrights, both the McDonagh brothers. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I have been led to believe.
Okay.
And then after that, the weird kid, the weird little kid on the bike with the dog.
The little Protestant.
The weird kid.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. He finds a big bag of guns, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which is what leads Jerry to sort of take them to his IRA contact.
Whose guns were they?
The IRA's, I believe. They'd been stashed by somebody.
Right.
And the kid just stumbled upon them, told Sergeant Boyle. But obviously that is introduced to explain why he has the teeny tiny gun.
Yeah. Yeah, because he finds these guns but doesn't he give them back to the IRA?
Yeah. So, -3.
Right. Oh, I see. So they've stashed them somewhere. He's saying, "I found your guns. Here they are back." Mm-hmm. But less a couple.
Yeah.
I see. And he saved an AK-47, a little gun, and another gun.
Yeah.
3 guns.
And a third gun.
Yeah. Which came in handy later. Yeah. Yeah, water pistol, spud gun.
Nerf gun. The potential. I think the first time I watched this, I was under the impression that the director and writer, same guy, not two people. I was under the impression that he was Irish.
No.
No, I know he's not now. He's English.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I felt like that was the case.
Well,
so my question to you, based off that, is that sort of changes things in my mind a little bit now that I know he's English. Do you think this is a positive portrayal of Ireland and its people?
Is it a positive one?
I don't necessarily... Right, I'll tell you what I think. I don't necessarily think it's a positive portrayal of Irish people, but I think it's a very well-rounded one.
Okay.
I think it's quite realistic in that it paints... But, because, you've got the ups and the downs, like the whole IRA thing, not great.
Yeah.
Historically, not great. Understatement. You've got the people who view Wendell as an outsider and just refuse to talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose they're not painted in the best light, are they?
A lot of the time, no.
Yeah.
The bent cops, like, it's not great. But then you've got kind of, like, his mum is just sort of no nonsense, facing down death in quite a brave way. Jerry Boyle is just a mass of contradictions. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, McBride, he's quite a positive portrayal of an Irish person. The little we get to know about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the more I think about it, initially I was just like, oh, it must be written by an Irish person. And then I found out it wasn't. I was like, oh, is that okay? But then the more I think about it, actually it's quite a, like I say, well-rounded interpretation of Ireland. I think, anyway.
Thinking about it now, I don't think any character is particularly portrayed brilliantly.
Nobody's like 100% sympathetic.
Even the nice one is an idiot.
Yeah.
So, but then I think that's just the story that he's telling. I don't think it's really got anything to do with where it is. It's just
I disagree.
Okay.
I don't think you can talk about this film and separate the setting because it's one and the same. Like, this is so Ireland.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I think you could set this in any small village.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I think Ireland gives it half of its charm.
Do you think so?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I think you could put this in any small village, really. Just people will be talking with a slightly different accent. But
might not have to use subtitles for one.
What else did he do? Calvary, is that an inherently Irish movie? Irish-based movie?
It's set in Ireland.
It's set in Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay. Brother Bear did In Bruges and other Irish movie, Banshees of Inisherin.
But this is why I thought, like, maybe they have family there. There's got to be some connection.
There must be a connection. I'm pretty sure I heard one of them, John, Michael McDonough, talk about going back home, maybe to Cork.
Oh, right.
Somewhere.
So they must have family there or something. May have been
Galway, actually. But,
okay.
But yeah, so clearly there's some connections there. But you hear him talk on a podcast and he's the most London you've ever...
very, very...
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's what confused me, because this film does seem like it was made by somebody who's sort of well-versed in Ireland.
Yeah.
So yeah, there must be a connection.
Yeah.
That's interesting. How do you feel about Don Cheadle as fish out of water, Wendell Everett?
How do I feel about him?
Yeah, what do you think of that character?
Don Cheadle's pretty good, isn't he?
Don Cheadle's always good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I would like to have seen more of him. I would like to see more back and forth between his character and Jerry. Yeah. But then maybe they've just hit the sweet spot where it might have got too much. I don't know. But
it's funny you say that. Do you not remember when we watched this the other night and we got to the end and I sort of said, fuck, that was really breezy.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was a short film, but I could have sat through another half an hour of that happily.
I think it was a good move to make it a 90-minute movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know if I mean it really. I just really liked their dynamic, and Don Cheadle was good. I just didn't see enough of him.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I mean, though. I liked all of the characters. I would have enjoyed spending a bit more time with them.
Yeah, yeah, and the more time with the villains as well. They get some good moments. The times that they are on screen, they're very funny as well. They meet at the Sea Life Centre.
Yeah, the aquarium.
The aquarium. That's it. And Shee's character. No, just Shee. That is his character, isn't it? Shee. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he punches the side of the glass to try and scare the fish. Oh, that's who you are, is it? And Mark Strong's character is Clive. He's called Clive.
He looks like
That's pretty
Clive.
Hilarious. You'd call a international cocaine dealer Clive. That's just amused me for some reason. I bet no one's ever called Clive as trafficked cocaine.
The rest of them all work in HR.
Yeah. But they had some good dialogue in there as well. Mark Strong, Clive's character, is kind of talking about how he's sick of the job, right? And he's just getting a bit bored of life, so that when the ending scene happens, he's well up for a gunfight.
Mm-hmm. It's curious though, because he's quite a nice counterpart for Jerry. There's a lot of commonalities.
Do you think so?
Yeah, especially in terms of just being sick of everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
Bored in life.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, quite interesting. Goes to show that, it sort of emphasises the moral ambiguity of the film, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we have that wonderful scene where David Wilmot's character's broken into Sergeant Boyle's house.
David Wilmot is one of the villains?
Criminal number 3.
Right, okay.
The wild-eyed one.
Did he break into his head? Did I watch this movie?
I'm starting to question that. Were you asleep? Did you nod off?
I might have done,
They have the back and forth and then he's scratching his junk.
Yeah, I remember it now.
Mm. And that's when he fishes out, shoots him with the tiny derringer. Is it a derringer?
I don't know. But he was sent there to, it's come back to me now. So he was sent there to keep an eye on Jerry while they do the drug deal so that he doesn't go to interfere.
Yes.
But Jerry gats him in the chest.
Yeah.
And then runs away, gets kitted up.
With the backdrop of is it Daniel O'Donnell poster?
Yeah, that's a singer.
It's very, very Irish. My grandma used to like Daniel O'Donnell.
Okay.
Should give you some idea of the calibre of his music.
Okay. So it's him and Flatley, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Ireland's 2 biggest musical exports.
Has he made an action movie starring himself, Daniel O'Donnell?
Not to the best of my knowledge. Has Michael Flatley?
Didn't he make what was that called, that movie?
It's like Blackbird or something.
Yeah, that's it. Blackbird, yeah. Yeah.
Some sort of bird. That was The Room, I'm led to believe.
I think so. I want to see that movie, actually.
Is Michael Flatley Ireland's Tommy Wiseau?
Maybe, yeah. I looked it up they were screening it at Prince Charles not long ago, and the screening was full. You couldn't get tickets.
Wow.
So I expect that they're going to be showing it, but I imagine it's like The Room situation.
Oh, yes. 100% ironic ticket purchases.
People are throwing shoes at the screen.
Either that or Michael Flatley. They sold nothing and Michael Flatley bought every ticket so as not to be shown off.
It's just him sitting there in his little hat.
Yeah. Dancing in the aisle with his arms glued to his sides. I don't get that.
Is this Riverdance? Is that a Riverdance reference?
Yeah.
I've never seen a Riverdance. I ain't never seen it.
My nana bought me that on VHS once.
Oh, lucky you. Do you still have it?
No.
Oh, thank God. We're heading up to the finals action sequence, I guess. It ends with an action set piece, which is nice. As
close to an action scene as we're going to get in a $6 million Irish comedy.
Yeah.
I guess.
And Gleeson does I'm putting my uniform on bit now, and you get a little kind of montage.
I love it.
Yeah. And he heads to the port where they're doing their drug deal.
Yeah, the pier that we've seen several times in the film up to now. That's where the higher up cops were paid off. There was a picture, it was either a photograph or a painting in the background of one of the scenes.
Yeah.
I think when Wendell is leaving, in inverted quotes, because obviously he doesn't, and it's behind Jerry, I believe, of the same pier.
Okay.
So there's a lot of, I don't know if I want to call it foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But it's obviously quite well thought out.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have a gunfight.
They do.
He heads to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "You're not getting away from here."
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot at you a little bit and walk towards you.
And my mate, Don Cheadle's going to shoot at you a lot from back there.
And he has backup. He gives Don Cheadle the Kalashnikov and they're away. And that's pretty much it, isn't it? You get a little action sequence. It's not a lot, but it's enough.
It doesn't really need it.
No,
this film is so chock full of like solid gold jokes. I don't miss the action.
But I appreciate that kind of going against the bad guys, westerny type vibe.
Yeah, standoff.
Not in my town kind of thing, because I'm going to take your drugs.
Yeah. With your overinflated street value.
Yeah. Yeah, so he basically kills everybody, doesn't he?
Effectively, yeah, with the help of Wendell.
Yeah.
And then jumps on the boat, and then there's only Liam Cunningham left. And he shoots him.
Yeah.
But then the boat explodes. Oh no!
Right, okay. The boat explodes. And you're kind of left to think that Jerry hasn't made it out.
Yeah, but we know.
We know that he's a great swimmer.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle's character is left with a bit of doubt, I think, because he kind of says, no, he's dead. And I don't know, someone says something.
Somebody, well, the weird guy who was taking photos, unofficial photos at the first crime scene was like, oh, but he came fourth in the Olympics for swimming. Right. And he was like, no, that was fake. And he's like, all right then.
Yeah.
So we are left with that ambiguity, which I love a film that doesn't need to spell everything out for you.
Yeah.
I respect that.
I agree. It's nice to have your own interpretation. My interpretation is that I suppose I like to think that when he learned that there was an international drug deal happening, I think that straight away he started making designs on how to get out of here and how to escape. That's my theory.
Okay.
And
I'd never thought that there might have been that much forethought. I'm with you in that I think he survived.
Yeah.
Because he had nothing. I mean, his mum had died. His new partner had died. He hates his job. He's got nothing tying him there anymore. And he's got the means with which to get away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know entirely about that, but I do, in my mind, I think he got away. But it is ambiguous and it's meant to be that way. John Michael McDonough, in his mind, thinks that Jerry is dead. Or thought that Jerry was dead when he was writing it.
Okay.
Brendan Gleeson had the opposite thought.
Yeah.
But then when they came to shoot that scene, they both swapped.
Oh.
So it's really like can be either or.
So there's no definitive answer even from the man himself?
There's no.
Interesting.
It's just meant to be. He wanted to leave it as it could be either.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And I love a bittersweet ending as well.
Yeah.
Because if he did die, that's still cool because he went out a hero.
Yeah.
But it's obviously bittersweet.
Yeah.
No, I love the ending. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfection.
Yeah, really good.
So what do you think of this film on the whole? How would you sum up your feelings about The Guard?
I think it's very funny. I think it's very clever. I enjoyed everyone's performances. The setting was nice because you don't get to see Ireland very much.
That's true.
Outside
That's true.
of, fantasy films.
Yeah.
And
even then it's a stand-in for somewhere else.
Yeah, usually it's just a little stone wall or something with a big tree in the background. Yeah, it's overall I think this movie is pretty great.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
I'm of the same opinion as you. I think it's funny because I went back and looked at my my rating, and I've definitely increased it because to me this is as near to perfection as you can get.
Oh, wow.
This is like a 4.5 stars.
Wowee.
But like I'm stingy.
Yeah.
So 4.5 is high. Nothing gets a 5 unless it's The Thing.
Is that the only film you've given 5 stars to?
It can't be.
Well, Moonage Daydream.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I did give that 5. Maximum over Bowie.
I was at a 3.5.
Okay.
On this watch, it went up to a 4.
Ooh.
Because it's only I think it's my third time watching it.
Yeah. But it's something you'll revisit?
Yeah, definitely. A couple of years ago when I first downloaded Letterboxd, I just went through and rated a load of movies based on memory that I'd already seen.
Right.
And that was one that I rated at 3.5. But yeah, I'm up to a 4 now. I think it's very funny. It breezes by. And I think I'd quite happily put this on again now.
Yeah. It's a very easy watch. Easy breezy.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to it. You can get really invested if you want, or it can be more backgroundy if you want. It's such a fun time. But as you say, quite clever.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad we're in agreement.
Yeah. So what are we doing next week then?
Next week, I believe, is a first-time watch for both of us as we cover Fruitvale Station.
Yeah.
Bit more serious.
I think so. I don't really know that much about it.
Ooh, I know it's based on a true story, which is,
Okay.
Quite a different tack next week.
Okay. I look forward to it.
Me too.
Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your platform of choice and come and shoot the shit with us on social media. All the links are in the description.